This is a Mercedes-Benz M120 V12, and I hate to say it, over the past year it's become what all flat surfaces in a shop become, a place to put stuff. I have built a number of ITBs for V12 Mercedes engines, and actually if you go through and look at my channel, I think most of it is just building intakes for the same engine over and over again in a Sisyphusian kind of way. For some reason it's something I really enjoy doing, but this one has a purpose. Somebody else reached out to me and said, hey, I would like an intake, and then threw me a curveball. I want to be clear. There we go. I'm really proud of these. I think they look super cool and they move great. However, there's a few things that we need to do to make them right. The first thing is these fuel rails. I welded these up with a stainless piece of tube and cut off the original flares to do that. And these, actually this is backwards, slide in here and sit underneath and go right in there. That's nonsensical and stupid. This was almost impossible to install injector wiring and actually just make sure everything's sealed and had a good time at all. The following issue can be seen right down there, and that's called delamination. Anyways, let's get, I forget how these come out of here. First of all, don't need that. Pull one side out. Pull the other side out. You can see it's just not attached at all anymore on the stainless side, so it's definitely a surface finish issue. Huge shout out to Xtool for sending over their metal fab unit, their laser welder and cutter. It's used throughout this video, and if you're interested, check it out in the link in the description below. Let's solve our adhesion issues and our injector placement in one fell swoop. This is a stainless steel 3D printed intake runner, and this is going to bolt between the two almost identical plates as the last time. This also does the cool thing of moving the injector dead to the center of the crossover, whereas these just sat on here one bank like this. These actually come in and sit here like this, again being a crossover and not just turning and going up. This means they flow a little bit better, and I increased the velocity, i.e. moved the diameter down a little bit where the injector is placed, so hopefully you get a better fuel mixture going through that part of the intake. At any rate, the goal of this intake manifold was to be as low as possible, which is a little bit of an issue on ITBs in that you will see a little bit less torque than you normally would. A thing that really helps with these projects that are on a short deadline is the Xtool metal fab that they sent over a couple of weeks ago. I've been using this now for about 3 weeks, and I really like it. To show you guys how much of a time saver this laser cutter actually is, I want to show you in real time. This is a DXF file that I have that I've already exported from my CAD program and haven't imported into the software yet. It is 9 o'clock on the dot right now. So let's see how long it takes us. I'm going to turn on the cutter to load some material in. Sure. I know this is 2mm stainless, and we can take a photo of the sheet to give us an idea of where we're at. I add in our part. For the fun of it, 3 of those, and I don't really want to nest all of those, so I'm going to go over to Smart Nesting, so we're good on that. Our cut parameters, because we put in 2mm stainless, are preset. Start. And the other one's back there somewhere. 908. So from a cold machine, from nothing going on, to my parts in my hand, there's 8 minutes. And that's including me moving the camera around and everything like that. So yeah, it's nice. On the engine side, these are the exact same rails that we used on the last intake. They're a little bit different, they're a little bit of a different size. And then we have a stainless steel intake runner that goes on each side and twisty turns around itself to drop in right like that. These are identical, so they're just 12 identical pieces that got mirrored either way. They handle the angle and then they handle the offset to make the throttle bodies line up. Now that I have this tacked on here, I'm going to take the Xtool Metal Fabs cleaning feature and go around and clean up my weld joint between this top plate that I laser cut out and these 3D printed surfaces. I found that it actually works really, really good for cleaning up a weld surface before you go to it, especially on one that has a lot of contaminants on it from tapping all of these holes. Hopefully you can see what I mean when you compare this cleaned edge to that uncleaned edge. It makes a big difference when you go to weld it. If anybody was wondering why I run flex heads on everything, well, this might be it. This goes the other way. Alright. Oh, very nice. Okay. So injectors moved from buried down somewhere in there to right down the middle. These are also LS truck injectors because I had them laying around, and they're a little bit shorter and they use a smaller connector, more importantly. So I'm going to put two test ones, one on either end, and then we'll bolt the fuel rail on as well. So what we did on the fuel rail here is you can see I notched out some sections here, and then this is what holds it on so you don't have to take the intake off to bolt on the fuel rail. But yeah, it's truly just a piece of -6 extrusion. We put some reliefs for where the injectors have to sit for the harness connectors on those. So theoretically, 1 and 2, and slide right on. And our holes almost line up. So, like I said earlier, we are going with the Gen V throttle bodies. However, for test fitting purposes, the ones I made last year, and they need some work and they don't seal very well, but, you know, for the fun of it. And then on this side, we have some plates that tie in for right there and there. And that is for throttle by wire. And finally, the light sticks. So that's the physical part of the intake done. I'm a lot happier with this in that you don't have to pull the entire intake off to pull injectors, and it's just a lot easier to work on generally. It's just better in every single way, which is what we do with revisions, and man, there's been a lot of revisions of these. Anyways, one of the things I didn't do is tie these together, because what I'm going to try and do is build a drive-by-wire throttle body that sticks on the back of this. And I prototyped something out. I want to spend a little bit more time on it, but I'll show you what I got so far. If you take apart a throttle body from a 2000 Chevy Cavalier, you'll find something that sort of looks like this. And I say sort of because I didn't want to press this out of here. This is just a throttle position sensor that connects to the pins on the back. And then this is two motor contacts for a fairly simple motor and a little gear train. So what I did is took this, the back design and everything like that, and made it out of the billet, because of course I did. There's a few things that I want to fix on it as it sits. The first thing is, and it actually fits quite well as it sits on there and does that. And the motor drops in and sits right where it needs to on those. And even the pin fits, sorta. And the gear train all works like it's supposed to. So after spending all of my time on this side and making sure this actually worked correctly, I built the back half of a housing, which holds a little bearing and the back of the motor, and completely forgot the fixturing element of all of this. So now it sits right about like that with a nice gap, and that, you know, how bad it looks. So anyways, this is a work in progress. It's kind of a weird work in progress because I'm not really changing anything. The only thing I'm doing is adding a bearing, and I guess I am also adding this. So I've been building a race car for like 5 years now, and I've built it for real once. I've built half of it twice, and I've rebuilt it in CAD a dozen times, if not more. I've put quite a bit of hours into it over the years, and I'm one guy talking into a camera alone in a warehouse at 9 p.m. None of this really makes sense, but it's how I have my life set up, and that's a really interesting thing. Thanks to viewers like you and people supporting this channel over the years, I've gotten opportunities to go places and see things and do things that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten the opportunity to do. And this channel has opened a lot of doors for me. I'm going to continue to upload on probably about the same schedule that I do now. But I'm going to make videos that I want to make and how I want to make them. And if they take a long time, they take a long time. And that's where I'm at. And I think we're leaving it there for today. Sorry, no fun V12 noises, but this is still a little bit of a work in progress, even though it's been a work in progress for a very long time. I hope you enjoyed coming along for this one. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment down below, and yeah, thank you guys very much for watching.